Bomba-dee-da, 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 bomba-dee-da,
Go
bomba-dee-da.
Let's
for it.
do it. Let's
Hey,
do it.
let's do it.
Hey.
Trails. We're back again. It's been a little while.
Woo!
We've been kind of off the
Woo!
radar. Well, Matt's been out of the country and doing
That's
fun
right.
stuff, and
I've been
we're living lives.
doing some fun stuff. Oh, and today's podcast is brought to you by Amarula, the South African cream liqueur that goes well in coffee.
Is there alcohol in that?
Yes, there is.
Oh,
This is
damn.
called Amarula. Have you ever had Amarula?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
it's got an elephant on the front there.
Yeah, well, that looks like one. Yeah, I like the little rope around it too.
Yes, because I tried to rope an elephant when I was there. It didn't work.
Did you?
Didn't work. So let me put a little of this in my coffee. Good to go. Good to go.
I got some water today.
This is called Ranger Coffee. So when you're out on safari, you pull out in the morning, and before the sun's coming up, we pull off. We have some muffins, some snacks, and some coffee. So you can have a Ranger coffee, which is black coffee that's press pot, French press, black coffee,
Yeah.
and then you throw in the Amarula. So the first day, the boys and Ann and I did Ranger coffees. The second day, only two of us did Ranger coffees. The rest were doing regular coffee. They didn't like the stiffness of the.
Was it John?
John, I think, did Ranger coffee each day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if any of your boys are doing Ranger coffee, I'd say John's probably the one that step up to the plate.
I'm kind of into this. So I've been drinking this in the office. No, not really. Not really. Just kidding. Or am I?
Or am I?
Too much.
That's
No.
funny.
So I was
stuff.
in South Africa for the second year in a row. We didn't podcast from the back porch like we did last year, but
yeah,
great trip. Saw a bunch of wild animals, serious, like true wild animals besides my boys. We took the boys. They had a great time. Ann had a great time. So it's good family. It's kind of we're calling the last family trip.
They're getting older.
Well,
doing their own
because
thing, man.
we figure there's going to be girls involved from this point forward with
there's some pretty solid girls involved already.
the family.
They've been around for a while.
Trip.
The girls.
Yeah, those girls.
Yeah.
Damn girls.
Yeah.
Women weaken legs. Just remember that. Women weaken legs.
What?
That's what Mickey told Rocky in the first Rocky. Women weaken legs.
Oh, I was like, where did you come up with that?
I always remember that. Like he yelled at him.
Yeah, behind every
women weaken legs. I don't think he sounded quite like that, but
pretty close. Pretty
Anyway.
close. You guys go back to the original Rocky movie, watch it, and let us know if that's accurate.
Yeah, let us know if you think it's I was spot on or if I was really far away.
Oh man!
But I encourage you have some Amarula before you do that, and then it'll help the visual and the hearing.
Great.
So,
the hearing when you're on a safari.
No, when you hear him say that.
Oh, I thought you meant when you listen to us on the podcast. It would help too. It might help it become more entertaining. I mean, we're pretty awesome, but hey, you never know.
Who knows?
We might.
Hey, by the way, I'm Dr. Matt Bynum, who is practicing dentist here in Simpsonville, South Carolina, and my cohort over here,
Dr. Blaine McLaughlin, Cedar Rapids / Robbins, Iowa, dentist extraordinaire from back in the day. Matt and I met in dental school, and here we are podcasting about real estate. Sounds a little strange,
yeah,
but it's not.
We're trying to figure out how to finish these careers and still have money that we can do things with our families and friends. And because dentistry, while it affords us a great life, it's a good living. It's not really going to give us the life at the end of the career that we really have wanted. So
There's a lot going into that, and some of it probably has to do with the lifestyle that we've lived, which has been, probably more expensive than a lot of people, certainly. With we have some nice cars, nice houses, and nice things, and you kind of get sucked into that. And we've talked about that before, of course, but you get sucked into that
Doesn't
keeping up with the
doesn't
Joneses, but but
doesn't
you know what,
everybody
man?
go to Africa every year on a safari?
I no, not exactly.
I would say
No,
it's expensive, but I would tell everybody that's watching, you got to do it, man. It is Blaine's. It's just an amazing.
we may
I,
podcast in there next year together.
next year we may be there together. Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, there's some things you could sit here and we could sit here and save all our money and not do anything, and that's what some people talk about. They're like, oh, you got to save 80% or 50% or whatever it is, and it's like, God, if I do that, I'm not living my life now, right? Do I want to save and scrap for 20, 30 years so that I can live, at a different lifestyle when I'm retired, or do I want to live and enjoy life now? And so, that's kind of one of those things you got to decide on. And we talked about retirement last podcast, and we're going to kind of continue that today. We're going to talk about 4 different freedoms that people really, in general, people want 4 different freedoms, and we'll talk about the 4 different ones and how they relate to your life and retirement. And there you go.
You know, preparing for this one, Blaine, this really took me back a little bit to why we started this podcast. I mean, legitimately, why we started this podcast. Which was the whole intent behind this was to help teach others along the way as we learn it, because nobody sat us down and told us the options and the opportunities that we go into these podcasts to do with the money that we make in dentistry. Not one person ever set aside and said, "Hey, um, have you ever heard of doing real estate investing?" No one, no one
No,
prepared us for that.
none.
We did the traditional throw it in with our financial advisor that everybody recommended, ride the market out in the cycles of crap and good and crap and good, and somewhere at the end of
Hmm.
your career, we hope that's going to finish on a high note so we can cash in. Well, I don't know, through too many losses here, starting with 2008, maybe even before that, just the multiple amounts of loss, it just doesn't make sense to continue to ride that train anymore. So we decided to make some change about 3 years ago. We attended a Brad Sumrock real estate event, and I went in person. Blaine was online with our good friend Jay, and it was that meeting that just woke us up and changed our lives and trajectory from that point forward. So today we're involved in multiple deals. We're involved with multiple doors. I know that Blaine, I'm in something like over, I don't know, 1,800 doors now, something like that.
Yep.
I think you're somewhere in the 1,500,
12. Yeah, 12, 1500.
12,
I can't.
13.
12, 1300. I think.
And then you've got some build to rent housing that's coming up, which is even bigger. So there's a lot of projects that we've really taken on and started in our lives from the beginning of this ongoing event that's allowed us to take charge of the future and what we're going to do with it.
That's right. You know what? And I mean, I started in years ago with the I think some people call it the Purple Bible, Matt, the Kiyosaki books,
Yes.
and got it into real estate that way. And those are great books to read. They really give you a different perspective on finances and money. And I learned that a long time ago, and then kind of lost track of it as I was just focusing on my dental practice. And then I regained momentum in real estate when my retirement plan was getting me 3% over 25 years. So I decided I had enough of that. And here we are. Here we are. And
You
thank
know
you for
what?
joining us.
Yeah. Thank
What?
you guys for
We can
joining
toast
us.
to that?
Big toast. Big toast.
Toast.
Here
we are.
Toast. Amarilla. And
Water.
not Amarilla or Amarillo or Armadillo
No,
or
that's not
Armadillo. It's
armadillo.
Amarula.
Amarillo is in
Amarula.
Texas.
Amarillo
Amarula.
by morning, up from San Antonio. Anyway, that's a George Strait song. Anyway,
Okay.
so I had a patient in this week, chiropractor, friend of mine. Been seeing Jeff for a long time. Jeff, if you're watching, shout out to you, my friend. Jeff's in the same boat, man. He started talking to me about, tell me more about this real estate thing, because he's at that very same stage, Blaine, that you and I
Yeah.
are. And he says, what did you do to learn? And I said, I went to my first event. It's not that expensive, but you got to invest time in learning this process, learning the people, learning what's going on in order to take the benefit from it. But when you take charge of your own future and your own destiny, man, that's freeing in itself, different than the type of freedom we're going to talk about today. But the four freedoms we're going to talk about today stem from one very simple freedom, and that is developing what your freedom number is. And we've talked about this before, Blaine. Tell them what your freedom number is.
Freedom number is the number of dollars you need to have behind you in order to live the type of life you want. And that can vary a lot from person to person. Some people their freedom number is Social Security. They're like, I get $1,800 from Social Security a month. I got to live on that. And maybe they don't choose that. Most people probably don't choose that, but they probably don't think they have a choice. They're stuck in their 9 to 5 job, and that's kind of how they grew up, and that's really all they know. And so, if you feel like you're stuck in your 9 to 5 job, well, keep listening to us because we'll kind of wake you up and give you some ideas and thoughts. But that's a freedom number. Some people say I need $1 billion. If I have $1 billion, then I'll be free. And that's the way I can do what I want and live what I want and give what I want to charities and other people. So it varies. I mean, it's all over the place. Depends on what you plan to do in your future and what you want to do for retirement. And again, last time we talked about sitting on the beach drinking cocktails for 20 years is people that's kind of the dream retirement, but people don't do it because they get bored with it. And most people just have this inherent need or want to give back
Yeah.
to other people and to society. So they'll start working again or do some sort of something charity and that kind of stuff. So
I think that's just human nature. I think as you breed success within yourself, the character that builds inside of you is one that you want to give to somebody else. And that's probably critical for the entire process.
yeah.
You have to got to want to give to others because you have a deeper calling inside of you that wants you to do that.
I kind of found myself in a little bit of that position last night. I was out, I was having a margarita with a couple of my buddies, and we were talking about bicycling. Tour de France begins today. It's my favorite sporting event. Here we go. Could be
It is.
fun. Could be fun.
Blaine loves
I
this.
love the tour, man. We're talking about bicycling, and this couple next to me we're sitting at the bar, and they're like, "Hey, I heard you talk about bicycling, and I just got an e-bike, blah blah blah." And I started chatting with them, and they have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, and and I'm like, "Oh dang, you guys are busy time, and it's not going to stop." And so they kept asking me all these questions about parenting, and you know, I don't, I don't attest to be a parent coach, but I
I
gave them
do.
all sorts of, yeah, yeah. I'm like, well, I've been through it, so I know more, more than they do about what goes on. Anyway, so I just sat there and we talked for a half an hour about stuff, parenting, and they're like, oh, we don't know if we want to have another kid. Maybe we do, maybe we don't, and da 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 da. And I don't know. Anyway, it was really fun, and I felt like I gave them a little bit of wisdom, and I felt that was cool.
I think wisdom comes with experience, doesn't it? I mean, that's the
Wisdom
whole,
does come with experience,
and
and
that's the whole point of the podcast, Blaine, isn't it?
how do you,
Because
yeah,
we've got 30 years of working our butts off, almost 30 years working our butts off at the chair, saving money, doing what we thought we were supposed to be doing, what we were told. And at the end of this, we're wondering where it's all at and how are we really going to survive the next 40 years with what we put aside. It ain't going to work. So the experience has led us to this point to where we can
Yeah.
sit in front of you guys and tell you the things that have worked for us and what hasn't worked for us, and teach you as we continue to learn, which is the most important aspect of this whole thing. But yeah, we're honored to be able to do that, and just find ourselves as, you learn more when you teach as when you do when you're the student. So causes us to be on top of our game and to bring things to y'all that certainly is grasping and learning and things that you want to experience as well. So
Wise man once said, Matt, wisdom comes from experience. Well, how do you get experience? By making mistakes.
why do we
Bam.
fall? Why do we fall, Bruce? So we can get back up again.
Is this Rocky again?
No, this is Batman. Remember when he fell?
Oh man, you're going
remember
all over the place.
Alfred's like, Bruce, why do we fall? So we can get back up again. That's why.
That's why.
That's it.
All right.
So let's talk about freedoms.
Freedoms. These are
Freedom!
freedoms to your goals are in order to live your dream life. And again, a lot of people just kind of fall into their future, just with their jobs and careers and whatever, and then they don't think much about it, and then they retire, and they're like, and then they're just stuck. And so, these freedoms are going to free you. That's why they're called freedoms, right? Yeah, I know.
That's profound.
I know it is profound. Number one,
Blaine's digging deep.
I'm on top of it today. And I don't even have any armadillo in my water. I don't have any armadillo. Just think if I did, boy,
Cheers.
I would.
Cheers.
I'd be on the ball. The number one freedom we're going to talk about is kind of a big one, and it's kind of what the podcast about. It's about financial freedom.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's what everybody. A lot of people. Money is a big thing. Obviously, it helps us. It makes our society roll, right? And so, financial freedom is very important to a lot of people. But as we talked about, that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. What is financial freedom? What's financial freedom to you, Matt? What's it mean?
Financial freedom for me means that I can do anything and go anywhere without reservation, concern, or trepidation. I don't want to think about, can I do this? Can I not do this? And I'll give you a great example. I talk about this a lot. So, Ann and I, we do quite a bit of traveling. Our thought patterns are very different. Our priorities are different. If I'm going to fly 16 hours to South Africa, I'm going to fly first class. It's going to cost me an extra amount of money. I don't know. Could be $2,000, could be $1,700, could be just an extra $800. I don't even know. But that extra money to me is value. Whereas Ann, she doesn't care. She'll fly and get upgraded to comfort class, which she doesn't give a rip about, because Ann can sleep standing up. Ann can sleep anywhere. So for a 16-hour flight, her going to sleep for 9 hours is really easy. She's like a Navy SEAL. She could just crack out and she's gone. For me, it's not that easy. So not only that, but I'm a pretty big dude. So being caught up where I have to shrug my shoulders from getting hit and things like that in the aisle. So it's just different. So those priorities are different. I don't want to have to question, are we flying first class or are we not? We're just going to book the damn ticket. And that's financial freedom to me, not being worried about what does she want to do? What do I want to do? It doesn't matter. We're just going to go book them in first class regardless, whether you like it or not. This is how we're flying. So being able to go there, stay in a nice hotel, enjoy the experience. It's not about the glitz and the glamour. It's about the experience for me and the nostalgia that it brings. We just went on vacation with the boys. That's a pretty big vacation. I mean, South Africa with the 5 of us, I don't even want to venture to guess what that cost. I mean, honestly, I know it was a lot, but I don't care because it's an experience. It's something that here I'm drinking Amarula, just thinking about my time 2 weeks ago being out in safari. Why am I doing that? Because it's nostalgic. It brings me back to sitting there watching the sun come up with my wife and my three boys out on safari and looking out of this amazing um, reserve property where the animals are just waking up, and we're same with us, and we're tipping a cup of coffee with amarula in it. So that's why I'm doing it. I don't know how else to say that, but the key point is I don't want to have anything that's going to get in my way from making that decision. If I want to go for a week, if I want to go for 14 days, if I want to go for 3 days, I want to be able to do that. That's financial freedom for me. That's not $1 billion financial freedom. That's probably, I don't know, it's a few $1 million financial freedom
Mhm.
number for me. What about for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there is a difference between, I mean, I would agree with you. And to me, financial freedom would be doing what I really want to do, and not having to worry about it. And, thinking about smaller, uh, earlier stages in my life, one of the freedoms I wanted, and this may sound strange, but I wanted, when I was in college, we used to get chicken pot pies, and we would eat those, and they were 33 cents a piece.
I love
And
those.
they you put them in the oven, and man, they're actually pretty good. But we found them once for 33 cents a piece, and and my roommates and I are all looking at how much everything costs. And I told myself, I said, you know what? I want to be able to go to the grocery store and never worry about how much it costs, not look
Right.
at the prices ever. I mean, and that I've done that. And that's been one of my goals. I'm like, if I want to buy something and I want to get Heinz ketchup instead of market pantry ketchup, and it costs me $1 more, so be it. Right. And so, because Heinz ketchup, if you guys don't know this, is way better. Heinz ketchup is the best,
Yep.
just so you know. And
And it has more sugar.
episode,
That's why.
this episode is brought to you by Heinz ketchup as
And
well, and
and
they don't even know
Amarula.
it, But so that was one of my goals early in life, and so everybody's like, "Yeah, grocery. The last inflation has gone crazy over the last few years." And they're like, "Oh man, the price of groceries has really gone up," and I'm thinking, I don't even know that. I don't, because I don't pay attention to how much groceries cost, because that was one of my freedoms early on in life. And so, I want to do what I, want to be able to do what I do and travel. And just like Matt said, some people, they get into, maybe a different word. Maybe it's called financial independence, which might be different than financial freedom. And that's basically, some people consider that is covering all your living expenses. Okay, so with like passive income, right? And so we have our active incomes as dentists. We have to be there in order to make money and be present. And then, but if you can do passive income, then you don't have to be present. And that's, again, why we're on this podcast. We're looking for passive income. We're trying to build our passive income so that we can be financially free and cover our living expenses for sure, as well as our fun stuff, travel and whatever Hawkeye football games. Go
Yeah.
Hawks!
Yeah, just to be able to, like, we went to Iowa last year just to go hang out and see a game. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
I don't want there to be a, gosh, can we really afford to go, or should we go? Just like I consider dining an experience. So not all restaurants you go to is a dining experience, but if I'm with friends, I consider that time that we're going to spend together, 2 hours or 3 hours. I I don't want to think about, are we going to the nice steakhouse or are we going to the cheap steakhouse? I I just want to go and just enjoy the meal. So that to me fits in with the financial freedom too. And like you're talking about, that 9 to 5 job and living on a budget is part of this whole process too. Do you have a budget? Do you not have a budget? Wouldn't it be nice to not have one? Period. Like, budgets are always made to be broken, aren't they? I mean, that's why you have
Oh
a
yeah.
budget. You have a budget so you can break it. I mean, that's the truth. So, for me, I think it's a matter of that financial freedom. And the first thing that we're talking about is just simply being able to do what you want to do, to enjoy what you want to enjoy, to share with others, to be yourself, And it doesn't have to be extravagant. That doesn't mean everybody watching loves to go down and eat at Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Maybe people like to go to I don't know what's the name, Logan's Roadhouse. One of those. They got those all over the United States where you can get a cheaper
Never
steak
heard
with
of it.
salad. Yeah,
Never heard of it. You
well,
talk
that's where
about
you eat the
Logan's.
peanuts. You throw them on the ground. That kind of thing. And dude, hey, you know what? I love going there every now and then too. So it's not a matter of having to be the high end, but just being able to stay within the means of what you want to do to create the experience. That's financial freedom to me. Not, and
Yeah.
we're not talking about cars. We're not talking about, gosh, do I want to have a Ferrari sitting in the driveway? Dude, if you want a Ferrari, go get a damn Ferrari. I don't care. If you want to pay that bill every month, that's great. I don't want to pay that bill every month. Can I afford a Ferrari? Yeah, I can. But do I want one? No, I don't. Because I can't even imagine the upkeep on that, to be honest with you. I know what the upkeep is on my truck. So
You know what
I
the
can't
upkeep
even
is on your
imagine.
42 Jeep.
46.
46.
Yeah.
46 Jeep.
Or my 69 Camaro. Hey,
Oh.
anybody out there a Camaro enthusiast? Selling one.
He's selling one. You've been selling that for a while. Not
I
sure
have.
how hard you're working at that,
I'm not, but I need to. What else are we going to talk about financial freedom?
well, I mean, it usually, like I said, it comes with passive income, and there's usually multiple streams of passive income. Whether I mean, it can be dividends from stocks. It doesn't have to be real estate, right? So dividends from stocks. My cousin recorded. He's a DJ, uh,
Oh,
and he recorded his voice on this one website. And he's just got this, he's got this great DJ voice, and is always, and he recorded his voice, and they're using his voice clips through this website all across the world. And every time they use, I don't know, 100 voice clips, he gets a penny or something weird. It's like, what? Anyway, but he goes, there's my voice is being used on the internet all over the place. He goes, it seems to be mostly in over in like Asia, like Thailand and stuff like that. He goes, I don't know why, but he's laughing about it. But he's getting paid, not a ton, but that is passive income, and I think that's
that's
fantastic.
that's
I
passive
thought that,
income.
yeah, that's passive income. So maybe you do that. I mean, and the more it gets used, the more income he gets. Maybe it's these these podcasts that'll go on YouTube, and maybe they'll freaking someday they'll go crazy, and YouTube will be like, "You guys are so cool, we want to pay you." I don't even know how that works,
I don't
but
either.
that's passive income.
YouTube, if you're out there, we're willing.
Yeah.
We're willing to take money to get on the show together.
Yes, we'll do more shows
We'll do
if you
more.
pay us. If
I
you
don't
pay
care.
us,
I don't care. I'll do it.
yeah. um, or possibly you invest in, say, real estate, right? And you get a monthly or a quarterly dividend, or distribution from that real estate deal. And it's one of the reasons that people get into it is long-term cash flow. You can invest for in deals that provide long-term cash flow that you hold forever. You
Yep.
can find deals that
Residual income, residual
yep,
passive income.
just or just maybe you're in it to rebuild and sell at a profit in 3 to 5 years, and that's kind of the thing we're doing to try and increase our wealth and our net wealth. And so you got to have multiple streams of income to get this passive, to get this financial freedom goal, whatever it is you want. But you got to figure out what that is yourself.
Yep. So the next freedom that we'll talk about is location freedom. Location freedom is a little different because, the question I would ask everybody out there right now is, are you living in the place that you really would love to live? Like, I live here in Simpsonville, South Carolina, and I love where I live. I love my house. I'm close to my office. I love the area. But if I were going to sit down and analyze, is this where I want to live for the rest of my life? The answer is very easy. No.
No.
Where would I live? I don't know. Put me on a beach somewhere in Hawaii. Put me on a beach somewhere in South America. Put me someplace like that. And the financial freedom that we just spoke of is one of those things that allows us to move constantly to go and share in those experiences in different places. But location freedom could be as simple as I've worked my butt off. I have enough money that now I have passive income coming in every single month. I could park my butt in Bermuda, buy a house in Bermuda, and just go to the beach every day and get paid because I'd look out at the water every single day and the beautiful pink sand, beautiful blue ocean, get some sunshine, stop off at the bar, have a drink on my way home, whatever it is to you is the key. So that location and freedom, the ability to be where you want to be, is another thing that is afforded to you by such things as passive income.
Right. And we have a little difficult time with location freedom as dentists because we have a dental practice in a office and we have to be there, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so finding location freedom with our careers does not happen. There's a lot of people work remotely. I got my one buddy, Doug. We talked about Doug before. He works, he's IT sort of stuff, working with AI, uh, you know, type of computer or whatever thing. And he can work. He works from his home, right? So he works at home. He's gonna rent a VRBO for a month down in Texas, where he lives in Iowa. His son moved down there, so he's gonna go hang out with his kid. And he's like, "We'll just work. It's a big enough place. We'll have a little office there. I'm gonna stay for a month." And it's like, well, that's kind of location freedom. You can go wherever you want and work wherever you want. And again, it depends on your career. A lot of careers can't do that, but there's a lot that especially after COVID, people have realized that a lot of work can be done not only in the office but elsewhere. And that's why maybe you see commercial real estate taking a dive over the last 4 years, is because there's a lot of problems with the office space out there. A lot of office space that some companies are not going back to. And so we're more into multifamily real estate as opposed to commercial and retail stuff like that. But that's location freedom could be important. Live where you want to live.
Well,
I
and
haven't figured that out yet, where I want to live.
yeah. Hey, I thought I did. I thought this was going to be home for us, but who knows? There's other avenues, other opportunities. Maybe the life that we're living is worth exploring and living, right? Maybe it's worth taking the chance and going somewhere else. But this location freedom also, you could be living in a state like California, where how expensive is it to live in California? So what if you had the means and the job, like you were saying, that you could go somewhere with lower expense, better taxes, things like that. You could be somewhere else and continue your lifestyle. That's what we mean by location freedom. The location freedom that I'm speaking about is once retirement comes, where is my location freedom? Where do I want to be? That's more in the lines of what I'm thinking. But currently, right now, could you be in the place that you'd want to be in, work your job without losing as much money on taxes and just sustainability to live in that state? Could you be somewhere else? Maybe you need to evaluate that for yourselves. I think it's something that is worth at least some thought.
Most sure, Matt. I agree. You should think about it. I mean, this is, like I said, we get deep. We're deep here on Happy Trails
That was
podcast.
deep.
We're we try not to get too serious though, but
that's right. Because who's got your money?
Your money. That is worth some thought there too.
Now, that is definitely who's got your money. Let me tell you something. I want you to think about that for just a second. Who's got your money? Could that mean who's got your money that you need to take in? Or does that mean the money that you've made, you have somewhere and who's got it right now? Two different things.
Two different things.
Those are substantial. People dig deep into that thought for a second. You'll move right into real estate right away. Like, bring it on. Let's go. Let's do some multifamily.
All right. freedom number 3 we're talking about is time freedom.
Ooh.
And this is one of those that has affected me a lot. You know, a lot of people work 9 to 5 or 8 hours a day and 40-hour weeks. But what if you're an early riser? You know, some people like to get up early. Some people don't. They like to get up late. Why not work 11 to 7 or 11 to 5 or work this week and not the next or something like that, you know? And being in our profession of dentistry, we're on pretty tight schedules, a lot of schedules, and everything's, you gotta, we do, in our office, we do an amazing job of staying on time, making sure we're there for our patients because it's their time as well. It's not just our time. We're taking care of them. It's their time. And so I don't like to be, to run late. I like to be on time and on schedule. And years ago, I used to do this bike ride called Ragbri. And it's if you've never heard of it, it's a week-long ride across Iowa. Iowa is not flat. There's a lot of hills. And, you go from one town to the next on your bicycle, 400 to 500 miles in the week. And we used to have a great time. And, me and my buddy sat in my driveway, and it was the day before we left for Ragbri. We're going to do the whole week. And I said, you know what? You know what we have to do for the next week? The only thing we have to do is get back to this spot in 8 days. And that's it. That's our schedule. And it was so freeing to me to go, oh my God, I don't have to be here at this time or here at this time, or have to do that. And I got a half an hour to get this done and all that stuff. And it was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Time freedom. I don't have a schedule. And so to me, that's going to be important. And like I said, working our job now, we're on a tight schedule all the time. So it's nice, just on the weekends, even like today, my wife, she traveled to Colorado to see some friends. So I'm by myself. I do have to feed the dogs. So I got to make sure I got to take care of that. But other than this podcast, today is whatever I want to do. I have some time freedom today.
Chris could get home on Monday. The dogs are dead. I mean, that's just
They
Blaine
are
forgot.
not.
Blaine forgot. I don't know. I think you're right. Years and years ago, I decided I was in the very beginning of my dental career, Blaine. I was in a lecture and I was listening to a guy who stood up, and he was an older gentleman, and his name was David Phillip. David was from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And he stood up and he basically gave his synopsis of his career in a nutshell of how much time he had lost and what it meant to try to gain that time back. And I heard him as if he was speaking directly to me, like where the lights go off and there's just a tunnel of light between he and I, and he's pointing at me even though his back was turned to me. I heard the whole thing. I made the change. It was immediate. I went outside. I called my office. I canceled. I was working at the time. I was working Saturdays, every other Saturday. I canceled Saturdays. I canceled Mondays because I hate Mondays. So I canceled. So at that time, I was doing Tuesday through Thursday with every other Friday. And for the last 15, 18 years, I've only worked 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And my focus in the last 3 years has been work those days and then work the real estate on the other days and in the afternoons and evenings. So, I mean, I would almost say I'm a part-time dentist and a full-time real estate guy now, just trying to get after these deals and set a lot of things in motion. But the truth of the matter is my wife established something with her partner where they work a certain amount of days and then they're off for like, I don't know, 5 days. And I'm thinking, would that be pretty cool to be able to do that? Wouldn't it, to afford yourself?
Yeah.
So I know there's people that work really hard for like 2 or 3 months and then they take a month off and they go travel, they do holiday, then they come back and do this again. It's really foreign to us Americans because I think it's more in the European countries where they do this, but they'll work for 2, 3, 4 months and then take an entire month off and then come back refreshed, work 2, 3, 4 months and then take an entire month off. Could you imagine that?
That sounds crazy
I
to
mean,
me.
that sounds absolutely ludicrous. But
Yeah.
if that's something that you can control within the parameters of what you do now, wow, how beneficial would that be? So I
Yeah.
think that
That's
in
some time
itself
freedom.
is something that just developing that time freedom for us is more important. So working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and spending my other time doing other things like multifamily and going on vacation and spending time with my kids and my wife and doing all those things, that's important. So the one thing that's easy to get caught up in though is in the dental field is we have to do the dentistry and then we have to work on the business of dentistry. And then the
Yeah.
great thing is when you get to the stage where you have an associate working with you or a partner, and then you
Yeah.
can give you some of that up. So that's where you start to get that freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of goes right into our last freedom, which is work freedom.
Yeah.
And we last podcast we talked about how almost everybody that retires early in their 50s and 60s. I don't know if 60s considered retiring early, but some people think it is. Anyway, they go back to work. People who retire early, they still are working and doing something, and maybe it's probably something different than what they did before, unless they love what they did before. My uncle, uh, he used to work for he was work for M&M Mars, and he made sure everything was running properly in the plant, and we figured he just painted the M's on the M&Ms. That was kind of what our joke
He
was.
was he an
Uh,
official sampler? He would just
Does
go in the line and pick one off and go,
this
how
taste
how
good?
much does he weigh? Is he heavy?
He's a skinny dude.
Is he
Nope,
skinny?
he's not. He's not. And he still does that. And he's well into his let's see, how old would he be? He's probably in his early 70s, and he still does it, not full time. He'll go, for a few days and go to some plant and make sure again, quality control is his gig. And he'll go make sure their quality controls up to par, and then he'll take a week or two off, and then he'll travel somewhere else in the U.S. And so, that would be work freedom. He's staying busy, and it gives him something to do. He's making a little money, and he enjoys what he does. And so, that's cool. And I love your thought of working 3 days a week. And I need to get to that, Matt. I need to do that.
Well, it's not
But
it's not a need to get to, it's a decision that you just do.
it's a decision
And
I
you
need
don't
to I
and you
need to
don't
make the decision.
I'm going to
Yeah,
tell
true.
you, I will tell you and everybody listening that the majority of the time when you make the decision to do that, you'll become more efficient and more effective in the 3 days than you would in 4, and you'll probably make the same amount of productivity money that you do in the 4 days, but you just afford yourself a little bit better lifestyle to do that, to do whatever. So,
Yeah.
I think that's key. I think, the work freedom thing is a decision too. Sometimes it's not always about making the amount of money per year. So let's just throw for round numbers. You make $100,000 a year. That affords you a great living, and that's awesome. But maybe you don't need $100,000 per year. Maybe you can back that down, and maybe you change your job, your work, so you are making $60,000 a year, and you have a side hustle at night that you do something and like sell your voice online and create residual passive income. You know, maybe that's substantial enough to live your life in Costa Rica or live your life in Maui, Hawaii. You know, who knows? That definitely wouldn't work in Maui. It's so expensive there. But you could definitely do it down in Costa Rica, or you could do it in South America for sure. But what would that be like? How would that serve you? And is that kind of freedom worth it for you? For me, I like you and I have talked about. We love dentistry. We love changing
Yeah.
lives. You changed somebody's
Yep.
life yesterday.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Created a great smile
So
yesterday. It's
yeah.
awesome.
So man, there's nothing
Fantastic.
better than it effectively changing somebody's life that you immediately had an impact on and with, and that's fulfilling in itself. That's income. That's emotional income, right? Like we collect that
Yeah.
emotional
Spiritual
income.
income. Yeah.
Yep. So the thing for us is how do we develop that into an arena where we make money passively that we don't have to continue to do that in the work environment, and that's what we're after on this whole thing. So, um, yeah, those are the 4 freedoms.
Four freedoms. There you go.
What
What are
about
you?
you
Were your
guys? What
what?
about you
Yeah.
guys? What's your What's your financial freedom number? Have you thought about it? If you haven't thought about it, pause the podcast, give some thought to it, and say, what would it take for me to be financially free, to not have to work again? And what would it take that I need every month to come in passively if I were to be able to do something like that? And then decide, is write it down. Is this avenue
Write it down,
something that
man.
we could really pursue? Is this multifamily real estate worthwhile in doing? Man, I'm going to tell you, the returns on this are fantastic. It is right now it is a buyer's market in multifamily. I would just listen to a podcast the other night, or a event by Brad Sumrock, and the buyer's market is on right now. It is, there are properties that are in distress because they got in deals early on where the markets crashed with the interest rates, and insurances went up and cap rates went up, and now they're calling them due and they don't have the money to do it. So they're ready to sell. That's why it's a buyer's market. There are deals out there to be had that you can come in and convert and turn to money. So this is where you want to have good contacts, good GP teams that you're going to be associated with, and just people that you know, like, and trust, like we've talked about so many times. This is the time where you really want to put that to the test, because these are the people going to help you get there.
Yep. And we're likable.
Likable.
Yeah. So you can like us and trust us. We're trustable too.
We got that
Yep.
too. That's right.
Yeah.
Look
Awesome.
at these faces. Look at these faces.
Look at these faces.
Come on.
Hey. Awesome. Well, there you go. I think that was our talk for today. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed a little bit. And let us know if you have any questions about anything. We'll do our best to help you out and educate you as we continue to educate ourselves and follow this real estate market, this real estate gig into our futures.
You got us down at the bottom, don't you, in the new the stuff? Happy Trails Real Estate Docs.com. Send in your questions. Hey, everybody, know, like, and trust our website. Get on there. Share it with friends. Share it with relatives. Share it with people you like, and share it with people you don't like. And share it with everybody you can. We're growing at a rapid pace. It's the fastest growing multifamily real estate podcast out there, and we're just super excited to be a part of it. So share with everybody. Send us some comments. Send us some questions, and we will see y'all next week.
Happy trails.
Happy trails, everybody.